Iqbal Masih, a child activist. Iqbal Masih was born in 1983 in Murtka, a commercial city in Punjab, Pakistan. At age 4, he was sold into bondage by his family. Iqbal's family borrowed 600 rupees from a local employer who owned a carpet weaving business, and in return, Iqbal was required to work as a carpet weaver until the debt was paid off. Every day, he would rise before dawn and make his way to the factory, where he and most of the children were tightly bound with chains to prevent escape. He would work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, paid 3 cents a day for the loan. Iqbal first had to work an entire year as an apprentice with no pay. After that, he was paid about 20 cents US per day. However, his employer also added to what he owed the cost of his food and the tools he used to do his work, and if he was physically ill or talked to the other children, he was fined, and this was added to the loan balance. Iqbal's family also borrowed more money, so as Iqbal got older, the debt grew. It looked like he would be like many children who never escape, who remain in debt bondage for life. The rooms had no ventilation and were extremely hot because if the windows were opened, it would be bad for the carpets. The air was full of particles because of the fibers they worked with. Iqbal worked with 20 other children who all sat hunched over a bench with 2 light bulbs over them, staying in the same position all day. If the children broke any rules or tried to escape, the employer threatened them by consequences, such as putting them in boiling oil, whipping them from behind, and even hanging them upside down. A 4x6 foot carpet has more than 1 million knots and takes an experienced weaver 4 to 6 months to complete. Its retail value in the United States is $2,000, more than the worker could earn in 10 years. Iqbal first heard about the Bonded Labor Liberation Front in 1992 when he was 10. This organization was founded in order to help children like Iqbal. The BLLF helped him get the papers he needed to force his employer to free him. Like many rug-making children, after years of bending forward to tie knots and breathing air filled with dust from rug-making materials, Iqbal was sick and looked frail. He was half the height he should have been. His body had stopped growing, and he suffered from arthritis, kidney problems, and breathing problems, and his spine was permanently curved. His hands were covered with small scars from cuts made by rug-making tools. Nevertheless, Iqbal jumped at the chance to study at the BLLF school to reach his dream of becoming a lawyer. He studied hard. Iqbal finished 4 years of work in just 2 years. Then, Iqbal became an activist against child labor. He repeatedly took risks pretending to be a factory worker so he could get information from the children working there to see if they were being put in child labor conditions. He helped free 3,000 children from bondage in textile and brick factories, tanneries, and steelworks. He became a very good speaker and began to speak at the BLF meetings about his experiences. Then he began speaking to international visitors, journalists, and activists. He eventually started going to where he was invited outside Pakistan. For example, he went to Sweden where he was honored by the International Labor Organization. In 1994, he was invited to the United States to receive the Reebok Human Rights Youth Action Award. While he was there, he visited Broad Meadows Middle School in Quincy, Massachusetts for a day. Broad Meadow Middle School was chosen for Iqbal's visit because its students were Iqbal's age and because they had done active work for human rights at the local and international level. He spent a day there. He met with some classes and spoke about his experiences. He had lunch with them, and the kids started on their own to give Iqbal gifts. Iqbal educated them on why they should spread the word not to buy from carpet weaving businesses that promote child labor. These 7th graders first organized an education campaign. They wrote thousands of letters to anyone who thought they could help change things. Senators, congressmen, government officials. They called local carpet stores asking if the rugs they were selling were made with child labor. The store owners got so angry that they even called schools and demanded them that the school stop the kids from asking questions, which they refused to do. Iqbal is a hero that encourages people of all ages and races to speak up for what is right. Unfortunately, he was assassinated at the age of 13 while delivering dinner to a neighboring family. Despite his terrible end, Iqbal accomplished much more than the typical individual. Iqbal Masih is a true inspiration. Even though he is no longer alive, he is remembered as Chief Justice.